going to talk about scopes. We're going to talk about scopes from this standpoint, from the adjustment standpoint. People have been led to believe because they buy a scope that's got quarter click adjustments or eighth minute click adjustments or whatever it might happen to be, that that's what it is. Well, the fact of the matter is, let's take a rifle, for instance, that shoots quarter-inch groups. A rifle shoots quarter-inch groups. We worked up a load, determined that this rifle shoots quarter-inch groups. Now we want to make a scope adjustment. There are very, and I emphasize very few scopes manufactured that have the ability to repeat adjustment-wise. Night Force scopes are very good in that aspect, repeatable adjustments. Leopold's top line scopes, their CDS system, everything that's got a CDS system in it, I find those to repeat very well. But here's something that somebody doesn't understand. We just work up a load and it will shoot, and we've repeated this a number of times, it'll shoot a quarter-inch group. The moment that you make adjustments in that scope was settled, shooting it and shooting groups for accuracy. The moment that you make an adjustment in that scope for elevation or windage or whatever, you're disturbing that accuracy level of that rifle with that scope. Almost every scope that's manufactured, even the very best scopes, Night Force, a Leopold scope, there are a few others that have good adjustments, but you got to understand something. This is not absolute. Repeatedly, I'll make an adjustment in a scope where I've worked up loads. I'll make an adjustment because maybe now I wanted to check that rifle accuracy wise at further distance. And then maybe after I'm done there, maybe I want to come back. Well, in that scheme of things, going out, our adjustments, we've disturbed, everything is settled in that scope when we adjusted it. The inner workings of that scope is settled with our repeated shooting. But when we change those adjustments, it disturbs that settled adjustment. And I don't find, as a rule, that the next time that I shoot, let's just say that we moved it up 2 inches, we didn't go to any other distance, but we just simply shot now at 100 yards. You're going to find that invariably that rifle, in most instances, is not going to shoot that same quarter-inch group. It might shoot a half-inch group. It might shoot a 5/8 group. Then we go back and we shoot it again. And those few rounds that we shot has settled the scope, has settled everything that you disturbed when you changed the adjustment. Now it's shooting to that potential. So what this means to you and I and to everybody else is we make these adjustments and we expect it to repeat and do what it's supposed to do at far distance. Let's say we're going to go right from 100 yard zero and we're going to go right straight to 1,000 yards and we're going to shoot. Well, how's that rifle shoot now at a target? I'm talking about shooting on a target where we can absolutely measure everything. How's that rifle shooting now? Is that rifle shooting up to its potential at 1,000 yards? If it was shooting a quarter-inch group at 100, if the rifle is capable, theoretically it should shoot a 2.5-inch group at 1,000 yards, because 10 times 250 is 2 inches and 500, okay? But the rifle is only shooting an 8-inch group out there at 1,000 yards. Well, is it shooting an 8-inch group at 1,000 yards? Yeah, it probably did then. But now that we've settled it shooting there at 1,000 yards, if we repeat this, is the rifle now shooting one of those tight groups down there like it should shoot? The answers to all this is, you didn't change anything in the rifle. The answer is you changed the scope. And when you change the scope, you're changing aspects of accuracy. The only way that you're going to know what your system does is by shooting at a distance. We can't shoot a 3-shot or a 5-shot group on the side of a bull elk at 1,000 yards. But does your scope have the ability to make that shot possible with the adjustments in that scope? Well, shoot one shot down there at 1,000 yards and see where that shot is, because you're only probably going to get 1 or 2 shots at that distance at an elk. Shoot those couple of shots out there and see what you've got. And if it's not what you expect, the answer is in your scope. This is why reticle systems that never change, etched permanent reticle system in scopes that don't change any aspect of accuracy or any aspect in the scope, these etched reticle systems in a considerable amount of instances could be a more accurate system to shoot at long range than something that clicks. This is part of the long range shooting game. If you're going to shoot at long range, you don't pick up the rifle on Friday and go out on Saturday and dial it to 1,000 yards and shoot an elk. You have to go to a range. You have to go to a range and you have to spend a lot of time shooting your rifle and learning your equipment and learning what that scope and rifle system and loads and everything does for you with your capabilities. If you haven't done that, you're only kidding yourself. And I've seen rifle scopes go from the years when some of the very earliest scopes, and I have 1 or 2 of some of the very earliest scopes made in this country on rifles that work just fine, just simple hunting scopes. I've seen these scopes advance, but just because the advertisement is that it has 1/4 minute angle clicks, that doesn't mean the 1/4 minute angle clicks in a Night Force scope or a Weaver scope is going to be as precision as the clicks are perhaps in the Night Force scope or the Leopold scope. I'm just simply comparing these name brands of scopes, some lesser scopes to a couple of scopes that have more ability. There's more engineering, there's more precision that's went into these scopes than perhaps other scopes. If you want something that works good, don't buy an off-name brand scope, something foreign especially. I encourage you to buy scopes that are made in this country, rather than something made someplace else, especially when you got to have them repaired. And I do know various people that use a Night Force scope, and they've had to send their Night Force scope in several times to have the adjustments in the scope gone through because they've clicked it up and down and up and down and up and down so many times that it's picked up wear and picked up problems, and they'll go through these scopes. It takes a while and so forth to bring it back to what it was originally. So, you know, there's that aspect too. And everybody, it seems like has a different scope on their rifles. Well, this isn't necessarily a good thing. And we've got scopes that are being marketed. It's become a great big deal. Companies have figured out that people spend bukus bucks, half the price of a rifle, or maybe even the price of a rifle on a rifle scope. Well, is that rifle scope a good dollar value, or isn't it a good dollar value? You need to test your equipment. You need to use it, and you need to see what it'll do for you. So, you know, I think that's kind of covers the scope aspect, something I think that some people are overlooking.